Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Eric from RealStack. So thanks for joining this tutorial class for part 4. So now I will hand this tutorial to Web 3. So Web 3, we shall start now.
Yeah, Eric, thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay. Good evening, guys. So this is our fourth session we are conducting now. So last session we saw some important topics, how we can connect the database, the real-time database, Firebase, and second one, how we can. Let me go through the last sessions. So we saw how to connect the Firebase and how we can add the functional business logic for the app, and we see how to debug the app and how to preview the app. So these are the topics we covered on the last meeting. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to do quick go through of these first. So okay, for connecting to the Firebase, this one like for mobile app, we should connect to the backend, right? So we take it as an example for Firebase in order to check how the APIs are working, how we can work with APIs, consuming of APIs in the mobile app. So that is the purpose we took Firebase as a backend. Then we call the real-time data sync, read and write to the Firebase. So this is what we covered on the Firebase, connecting to the Firebase topic. And after that, we saw some functional business logic, how we can apply the functional and business logic in the app. We see the flow of the functional flow of the app. Then based on that, in the eMOBIQ, we see the real example of how we can build the logic using the predefined function. So this is what we covered on the business logic to the app. And third one, debugging app. So once we done everything of these, right? So the let's say for each page you are creating the each meaning each part, right? You are creating, like, for let's say for example you are creating a page, then you have to ensure whatever the function you return on the page, it is working or not immediately when you build the logic. So that is the purpose we use to debug the app to ensure our logic is correct or not. So for under this topic, what we see actually how to run the app in the debugging mode so that we can ensure for our functions are working fine. And third one is a preview. Preview and debug is the same. So left side you can see the preview, and right side you can see the debug information. So related to the debug, what are the functions we can use, how we can debug, and where we can monitor the API consuming and these stuffs and all we see already. So how the data is storing in the local database, and how the data is storing into the SQLite database, and where we can see these data stored information in the browser. So these all the stuffs we saw under this debugging app and preview topics. So usually we recommended to use the Google Chrome in order to debug and preview. So there is a inspect mode section. So you can see all the information related to the debug and preview over there. Yeah, so these are the 4 topics we covered on the last session. So for this one is the let's say this one is a final session, it's a 4th session. So after this we will have a case study for the same app. So what we can do after this today's session, right? So we expecting you guys to do the case study for the app, so that whenever you have a questions, you can you can inform to Eric, so that Eric will forward me if any. Yeah. So this is what our plan la. For today topic, right? Today topic for the today session, we are going to cover few topics. So the first topic is called completion of app. Okay. So uh, as we know, we already doing the progress of customer self-order app. Yeah. So regarding this app, we already know the flow, how it's how the process will start, how the process will end already. So for completion of app, right? So whenever, let's say for some part we miss the logic, how to build the logic inside the eMOBIQ, right? We are going to see under this topic. And same, our business logic. So we are going to see some in-depth detail about for missing functions in the same app. Debug, we already saw that topic. Fourth topic is a compile and publish. So after everything done, after debug, preview, everything is done, right? So the final part of this app, right? We need to compile and debug. Sorry, compile and publish. So this is the final step. So this is kind of a release of the app. So once everything is fine, finally what we will do, we will compile the app and we will publish the app. So usually compile, what action the eMOBIQ platform will do when you do the compile. So let's say for Android and iOS, right, we have a executable files. Let's say for if it is Android, the file extension is called ARD. If it is iOS, the file extension called .gmg something. Yeah. So in the compile action, what it will do, it will create these executable files. It will just compile all the functions, what we written, it will compile all the HTML and XML pages, what we have, and it will use the data, it will use the mobile engine, Cordova or React Native JS based on the compiler. So what compiler will do, it will compile all the functions and the resources, what we have in the app, then it will give you the executable files. Then finally the publish. Our platform, once the app is compiled already, we have our own eMOBIQ store. So in the eMOBIQ store, I will show you later how we can access the eMOBIQ store. So that once you compile, right, automatically this will be published under our eMOBIQ store. So there is another kind of security we have to protect the protecting the downloading the app. Yeah. So let's say we don't want to download unauthorized user, right? We can protect our app by using password. So these and all we will cover under the publish topic. Yeah. So let's say if authorized user, we will provide a link for the user in order to download so that they can see the option to choose whether they need to download the Android package or iOS package, and these kind of options we have. Later I will show. So based on that, user what they can do, they can download and they can install. So it's automatically it's get installed in the respective their mobile based on the phone they're using, whether it's iOS or Apple, whatever. Yeah. So these are the topics we are going to cover now. Okay. So now I will share my screen so that we can see one by one. Okay, so these are the 5 topics we are going to cover. Actually, debug is already we completed. So that what we are going to do, we are going to see these 4 topics. So for this completion of app and art business logic is actually the same topic. So what I'm going to do, for last session itself, we already see more functional business logic, how we can apply on the eMOBIQ. So this one we are going to see more detail, like how what other the components we have under this eMOBIQ and how we can use the components to make use of into our app. So this is what we are going to see under these 2 topics. And compile and publish, as I told them, we have to. This is the final process of the app. We have to compile and publish. Okay. I hope everyone is seeing my screen, the browser. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open the eMOBIQ portal. So I will log in using my account. Okay, the CSO app. This is the app we built already for the demo purpose. Okay. So now, right, instead of seeing all the functions and business logics, I have some other topics to cover. So how our components are working here. Okay. So in the eMOBIQ left side, right, we can see the list of components. So we can see one by one how we will use these components. So let's say for the basic components, right, we have all these are the basic components. So let's say if these are the kind of form components you can see here, there are forms, there are components related to the forms. So in the basic components we can see how we can there is a label component. These are all we call it like components. Okay, so these components, right, you can drag and drop into the page, but for that you definitely need to create a page first in order to drag and drop. So otherwise you cannot drag the component. So we have a under the basic group, right? So we have a label and images is the important components, and frame is kind of a panel, so that we can put some other components into the frame. Yeah. So label usually, so this is what we call it like label. So label usually is kind of we used to include for the caption purpose. So let's say for this text box we have, right? So top of the text box we have this label in order to show that like, okay, so it's a name text box, something like that. So for we are using the label for that this purpose. And for image, so let's say for this one, right, if you see this one actually is a image box. So what we do, what we did, so we place this image under this image box. Yeah. So this is how we designed. So let's say for this, actually we splitted this page into three portions. One is called header, and another one is called body, and another one is called footer. So usually this is the common structure, right? So if you have a page, then you should have these three portions in the page: header and body and footer. Sometimes based on the requirement, we don't need to keep the header and footer, then definitely body will be there. Yeah. So in the header, we have a back button, right? This one, for the back button purpose, what we done, we included one image box and we placed the icon. We set the icon in order to show the icon of back button. So what we done, once you click this back button, right, we return the logic under this click. See, this is the image click action. So what we done on this click page, right? We call the function called go to page, and we use the parameter as pg login. Login is the page. Pg login is the page name for login screen. So based on the function, once you click the back button, it's supposed to go to the login screen. Yeah. So another question: how we can include these images? Yeah. So for including these images, right, actually we have a media library here. Okay, so in this media library there are the inner section called app and icons and images. So we can keep two kind of images. One is called icon, we just use for the icon purpose, and images sometimes, let's say for example, we have this splash page, right? This is the image actually. So the image we are just, you can see there is no other components. I just set the background image on this particular page element. So this is the purpose we are using the images also. So everything we maintained under this media library. So here, if you see this preview of this window, right, you can easily identify, okay, this select file is for the select images purpose, and once you got selected, then you have to click upload in order to upload. Yeah. So I'll just show you one example. So once you select, right, you can, okay, I just randomly choose one of the images, then I just open, then you can see the selected image here, and below, right, you have to highlight exactly in which folder you want to store. Otherwise it will automatically import it into the highlighted path. So I want to include under this image, right? So what I will do, I have to choose the image. I have to highlight the image first, then I will select the file. So I'm selecting this, right? I can ensure this is got selected, right? Upload. Yeah, so it's got uploaded under these images. So either you can use the select file to select the file in your system, or you can directly drag and drop into this portion for upload the file. Yeah, this is how we used to add the media, add the images into the media library. So we cannot say this media library is not only for the images. We can include any type of file under this media library. Let's say, for example, if you want to publish the iOS app, right? There are some set of procedures we have to publish to compile the iOS app. So otherwise, right, you cannot download the iOS package into your OS based mobiles, like let's say Apple and iPad and this kind of stuff. So for that purpose, there is a file called provisioning file we have to include in the app. So later I will show you in the global configuration we will do these steps. So for that purpose, what I'm saying for this media library is not only for the images, we can include any type of files. Yes. So this is how we have to include the files. Then, okay. So this is how we use the image box in the page. So this video and these are the others is actually this video we just this is the media player, so that we can keep parameter is called URL. We can give the embedded URL so that we can see videos using this component. So under this general, you can see some components like chart and map and PDF and QR code and barcode, data list and signature, right? So the name itself, we can say, okay, so usually for this map component, for what purpose we are using, if we have a requirement related to the map, right, you can use this actually. So let's say if you want to show some PDF, right, just a minute. So if you want to show some PDF, right, we can use this PDF component in order to show the PDF. So let's say for the PDF, right, sometimes maybe for sometimes after you placing the orders, maybe you can retrieve the PDF related file information from the server, but there should be you need a viewer in order to show the PDF. So that is the reason we are using this PDF component. Is actually a PDF viewer. Yeah. So QR code and barcode, basically this is the component we use to show the QR code and barcode. So if you place this, right, so it will ask you the value. It will request the parameter for value. So once you give the value of this parameter, right, you can see, let's say order number usually for any there should be a requirement called the order number supposed to show on the QR code format in order to scan by the user. So that we use this QR code component to show any value, not only for the order, any value if required. Sometimes we will use the item code, item master also we use this QR code. Why? Because let's say now we are using this customer self order app, right? Sometimes if we make inventory related kind of app, right, really they need this barcode and QR code feature in order to scan the item. Yeah, so that is the purpose we are using these components. And data list, we already know the data list used to show the list of records. Let's say for item list, right? So there should be a collection of items we have under the item list. In order to view the items, we have to use this data list. Otherwise, you cannot be able to show all the items in a page. In the data list, as we know, for most of all the apps, let's say for Twitter and Facebook, everything is using the data list in order to view the information of records. If you see in the news feed of the Twitter and Facebook, right, each record we call it like a data set record. Data is a data list record. Yeah. So we can design like in any way inside the data list. Yeah. Signature. So for let's say for the delivery app, right, after delivery, we should need the customer signature, right? So for that purpose, we keep this component in order to get the signature on the display, mobile display. Yeah. So in the name itself, we can easily say that, okay, so this is this component we are using for this purpose, something like that. Yeah. Next one is the forms, right? So forms, easily we can say edit text we are using for edit, we are using for the input purpose, and memo is a kind of a large edit text. Yeah. So let's say we need to type more for description, right? So we, for the purpose, we use the memo. Radio button and checkbox we know is based on the requirement. Combo box also, let's say if you want to show the list of values, right, we use this combo box. Then button we know already, like for any action, let's say for the login screen, after keying the username password, we use this button. So for if you take any of these components, right, in the action section, you can see the relevant events, so that we can trigger the action based on the whatever the action. Let's say for the edit text, like change is kind of a events. So when you type, right, immediately what action need to be done, then you can write on the change event. So change means after you return what kind of action you want to do. This action we will write on the change. Similar like radio button and checkbox, combo box. These are the components we have changed action. So whenever you select the radio button, or you check the checkbox, or you select the value from combo box, we can use these events in order to fire any action if required for the requirement purpose. Yeah. So button, there is no not much events. If it is a button element, then there should be a click event we can do, and date picker and all we can is additional components we can use if really required in the page. Yeah. So apart from these are the first three group, or the important group. We can see a lot of elements. Remaining, right? Remaining and all is a kind of a payment. So let's say we use the payment gateway, then there is a default PayPal component we have. And under templates, this already we know. So we have a collection of templates already under eMOBIQ in order to reduce the time of designing. Yeah, so we can directly pick this template and drag it into the page, newly created page, so that we can start using the yeah, so that it will reduce the timing of designing the page, Yeah. So this is how that is the purpose we are using this template. Yes. So these are the components, these are the definition of the components. We have it on the left side of the eMOBIQ design page. Yeah. So in the top right, we have some other functions, right? We can see one by one. So we have two options for adding the page. We can use this option also, and we can use this option also. So these are the function. Let's say if you build the functional flow, then we can use this. Maybe for the case study purpose, if you have time, you can play around this functional logic side, functional wizard side. So media library, we already see that there is a copy paste option. So if you choose any function on this layer, right, you can copy actually, so that you can paste anywhere that you need. Then there is a default delete option. If you can choose the component, and you can delete the particular component or frame, anything. Okay, so these are the things, components, it's available. Then let's say if it is a component, right, then I just want to show you the components we have under the services also. So once you click these services, right, left side you have a list of components. This one also we call it like components, but why we are keeping under the service is mainly used for the storing the data and API connector configuration purpose. And there is some components we have related to the mobile hardware specification. Yeah. So let's say this NFC reader, right? So we already saw how we can drag and drop the raw connector and the local table, how we can use the local table, and SQL table also in the same way. So if really you need to store the large amount, you need to deal with the large amount of data, then you have to use this SQLite, because for the local table, there should be a limitation in the local table. You cannot store more values, like more than 4 MB and all, you cannot store into the local table. That is the reason we are using this SQLite in order to store more volume of data. Yeah. So, but functions we are using to store the data or deal with the data, right? Let's say for inserting a data and updating a data and clearing the data. This function is common for SQLite also. So you can use the same function in order to play around the SQL data as well. Then NSC reader. Yeah. So this NSC reader actually is related to the hardware. So you have to configure this NFC reader in order to implement the function related to the NFC hardware item. Yeah. So apart from the raw connector, as I told, then we have a specialized connector for other ERPs called nav connector and SAP B1 connector. This and all is a kind of a ERPs, popular ERPs in the market, Acumatica and CRM 365. Yes. So we have other standard payment connector called MC payment and eNets payment and 2C2P. These are very popular payments in the Asia, so that we can use if really required by the customer. Yeah. So in these options we have under the service section. If you see on the global configuration, right, these are the main thing. This section is common for the whole app. So here we can have more options in order to set for the application level. We split this configuration as a general, Android, iOS, third party, properties, and plugin. So properties, right? So we have each page we have a properties, right? This property is common for all the pages. So once you set the property here, it will impact in all the pages in the app. So we can set the border and padding if really need for the whole app. So we can use this property in order to customize all the pages of the app. Is common for all the pages, is common for app. Yeah. So in the general, right, we can see once you successfully create a new application, automatically there should be a package name, and so the package name, this one also we call it like a package. It's an app name. This one is called a package name. So this package name, why we are using like this? When you generate the provisioning file, we have to provide this package name. And you can see fixed screen orientation, default portrait and landscape we can set. So once you set this option as portrait, right, then your app will only work on the portrait mode. Then application default page. This one, no choice, we have to set initially when you create a page itself, because this application default page is defining starting page of the application. Yeah. So there is an option for enable auto update. So this one, right, is based on the customer requirement. We can enable this auto update. Let's say once you enable, right, whenever you release the app, automatically user will get the notification. Yeah. So let's say if you in your app have a push notification feature, then you have to enable this in order to implement the push notification. This background mode and large heap mode is all related to the Android thing. Let's say for the background mode, right? Background mode, let's say if you want to run any background process, you have to use this background mode. Some settings related to the Android we have, and some settings we have related to the iOS. Like I said, in order to compile the iOS app, we have to attach the provisioning file from our media library. So for creating a provision file, at the end of the session, I will show you how to create the provisioning file. So we have to provide this information in order to build the app. Yeah. So third party, we have a Google Map API and Facebook ID. We have a functions also in order to perform the Google Maps and Google logins, so that we can maintain the key over here and we can use the function inside our app. Properties we already saw. Plugin is the this one is a separate thing, later we will show. Okay, and the third one is called we have a language option. So let's say you want to add more language in our app, right? We can use this section in order to implement more logic. Let's say more languages. So let's say for your app, you need both English and Chinese, right? English and Chinese and Malay, right? You have to add the languages here. So let's say I'm adding the. So here we have to add the language first. So I'm adding Malay, right? So it will come like this. Then okay. So I ordered the hello, right? Then here you can edit hello meaning like let's say. So let's say we have a meaning of hello in the Malay like hello. Then what it will do automatically when you choose the language, if you set the language in the app, automatically whatever the label caption we call it, we have hello, it will translate like this. So this is how we use the multi-language in our app. So for this, this is not only enough in order to change the captions. So once you set these equivalent words for both languages, right? Then what you have to do, we have to use the function called set language. So in the Google Home, in the eMOBIQ Home, right? For example, for that just example, I can show you the function called set language. So we have a set language, right? So in the set language, it will ask you the parameter for language. So you have to give Malay. So if you set language like this, then I'll just show you the real time. Just a minute. Okay, I will remove this one. Okay, I will remove this. I will just go to the login page. So in the login page, we have a login, right? So I just try to show how we can change the login. Okay. Okay, so this is the translated web, right? So what I will do, I will go to the login and here I put login. Then here I put okay, I say like this, right? So okay, so we have an option here, right? Okay, I added the language. Now I'm going to the Google page. In the we have a login, right? So I just write the load event PG login load. I just use the function called set language. Then I type Malay. Okay, so let's see what is happening. So I log in, right? It will just open the splash page first. After that, it will redirect to the page, right? So it's supposed to change it like this caption for login, right? So I think there is a issue here. Then Malay, okay, Malay is the language. Login. Okay, I'll just copy paste login. I save this. Okay, the eMOBIQ form. I'll just ensure this caption is login. Fine. In the page load, we have a set language parameter. We keep it like Malay. It's fine. I just rerun. Just rerun this. Okay. See, it automatically changing the caption side. This is how we use the multi-language. So in the UI side, maybe we can keep option for two buttons called select the language. Either you need English or Malay, so that we can play around the languages. So these are the main components and functions we have in the eMOBIQ homepage under the eMOBIQ home and global configuration and languages and this stuff. So far, we covered on these components and components we have under this eMOBIQ home and services. Also, we saw the details, we have it under this global configuration and languages. So why I'm showing these components, so later when you construct the business logics and everything, right, we will actually see the reflection of the effect on in these components only. That is the reason I explained this component first. Okay, so far, like you guys have any questions, maybe you can ask. If related, the questions related to the components, you can ask. Yeah.
Okay, any question from you all? Okay, good to hear that. If you would like to ask any question, please let us know. I can unmute you.
So for now, okay. How to
Yeah,
scan
yes.
the barcode from camera? Okay. So in order to use the barcode, okay, there are two type of functions we have. One, to generate the barcode. So I'll just show you how to generate the barcode. Then second, I will show you how to scan the barcode. Yeah. So let's say this page, right? In the menu page, maybe on the menu page user, in the user below the user, we have to show the username, a barcode in order to scan from anyone. Okay. So what we can do, we have to place the QR code or barcode. Both are same. It will generate the QR code, and another one it will generate the barcode. So it will once you drag and drop, right, it will show you the component like this. So in this component, there is a present value, right? You can see here. You can use this function. Let's say I just use yeah. So let's say if I type Eric, right, it will show you the QR code for Eric. So I'll just save and I will just run the app. Okay, so this is the QR code for Eric actually. Maybe like it's not showing clearly, right? So what we have to do in the properties, we have to set the, okay, I'll just drag and drop this QR below. Then I will fix the size. Height I will put 150 px. Height and width and height I will set like this. Then if you run this, right, yeah, so this is how we usually generate the QR code. So this one is a QR code, right? The same way, if you need to generate the barcode, then same way like QR code we can generate. Now we generated the QR code, right? So how we use camera to scan the QR code or barcode, anything. Okay, so we have a common function. So let's say for this, right, I just put like the caption called scan item. Yeah, so let's assume we use this button for scan the app. So in the component, what we can do in the action, so there is a go to page, right? Instead of go to page, what we have to do, you can see the function called barcode scanner. So you have to drag and drop this this one. Okay, so that if you put the console over here, right? So barcode S. So actually in this console, if you print the input, actually it will return you the scanned value of barcode. So I'm debugging in the browser, right? So you cannot see you cannot ensure, you cannot check some minimum function on the browser, because these and all these functions are related to the hardware of the mobile, right? It's related to the camera, related to the file explorer, and playing around the hardwares of mobile, right? You cannot see the preview in the browser. So in the purpose, how we can ensure, we have to build the app, then we have to install the app in the mobile, then we have to ensure whether it's working fine or not. So upon clicking this, right, actually automatically we drag and drop this barcode scanner function, right? Automatically it will open the camera. It will allow you to scan, so that we can capture the scan value under this yes callback, so that whatever the function we need, we can do. You got it? You got your answer, right? Who? Okay. So maybe this one, right? Maybe I'm explaining like theoretical, right? So you can start play around for importing these functions, right? So actually, you know what happening on the backend. So once you download, you install the app in your mobile, then automatically upon clicking this, right, you can see your camera, your actually it's not open your camera app. Automatically it will show you the frame for scan the QR. Yeah, so you can see. So this is how the barcode functions are working. So this barcode function is common for scan the barcode and QR code. Yeah. So this is how we use the barcode scanning options. And camera. So there are, we can see we have all the functions here. So let's say for you play around the camera, right? So we have a function called capture video, capture image. So if you use this function, automatically it will will open the camera in a video mode. So if you use the capture image, right? So actually it will open your camera into the image photo mode. Yeah. So audio and all is like we can play around these files in these functions in order to know what happened on the eMOBIQ. Yeah. So these are related. These functions are related to your hardware. Yeah. So you can see there are some device functions. See, get location. So if you use this function, right, get location function, right, actually this function will retrieve your position lat long. So let's say for the delivery driver and all, let's say we are developing a driver app in order to deliver the products. So what we can ensure for using this function now, like we can really validate the driver is delivering the correct customer or not. Because in the customer master, what we can keep, then we can keep the exact location of the customer. So once he started to deliver, right, we can validate, okay, the driver mobile and the customer location should be within the range. So we can do the validation so that we can ensure, okay, he is delivering the product on the right customer. Yeah. So this is the real-time example I'm saying how we can make use of this function to apply the real scenario on the app. Yeah. So we have an image chooser and datetime chooser. Image chooser and all, it will open your gallery. Keyboard show, keyboard hide. It's all related to your device related functions. Yeah. So there is a function called device OS version. This and all, it will retrieve the information about your OS, device serial. Usually for the earlier version of Android, right, we can retrieve the IMEI number. But due to the security reasons, nowadays the Android platform itself is not providing the IMEI. So because of that, we cannot get any. Because of that, there are a lot of, let's say, for earlier apps and all, we validated some security things based on the IMEI number. But now in the platform itself, they are restricted to provide this information. Instead of that, iOS and Android both are providing unique ID called serial. So we can use the serial number for it's not a device serial number. It's a kind of a unique ID is generated on each mobile. Yeah. So it's not a mobile serial number. It's a unique ID. The platform itself is generating. One device have only one unique ID. Yeah. So it will not repeat. Okay, so we have a touch sensor in order to play around the scanning option. Yes, and device vibrate, device beep. So these are the functions we can use. Let's say if you want to vibrate based on some confirmation, let's say you are placing order. So you just confirming the placing order using vibrating the device, then you can use this function in order to vibrate. If you want to make a beep sound also for the device, then you can use this device beep function. And barcode scanner we already saw. Network information, network status. So let's say for online apps, right? For online apps, let's say if you want to push the order, we need an internet. Let's say if you disconnect the internet, even though if you call the raw call API in order to consume the API, actually it will get failed. But before that, we have a function called network status. This network status, right, what it will do, it will just return you true or false Boolean value in order to confirm or ensure your device have internet or not. Either it is a mobile data or Wi-Fi, whatever, but it will just return you Boolean like, okay, your device have internet, you can proceed. So that we can do whatever we can use the function related to the online. So let's say for the API and all, we can use this function to ensure whether we have internet or not. So based on that, we can call the API related functions. Okay. So we have a file chooser in order to retrieve the file informations, and you can see so many a number of functions related to the device and for other groups as well. Yeah. So this is how we use the thing. One more question in the PG list where you display the data from database. What is the what is that? Okay, what is the insert action parameters? Okay, fine. So this one I will show you how we are doing the listing display. Okay, so as we know, we have a page called item list. So in the item list, we designed one. So you can see I imported the data list here. So inside the data list, I designed the one particular record like this. So this is the record I just designed. I put it on the data list. Okay. So if you click the data list, you can see the properties, right? So here I put the data set. Okay. So here I put the data set. This data set meaning what? This is, I will display the tables we have under the services. Okay. For displaying the products, definitely you should have values in the table, right? So what you have to do, you have to design the page and you have to assign the data set. Once page is loading, right, in the load action, we have to write the logics of push the data into the local table first. Then second thing, we have to use load data. There is a function called load data in order to load the data into the data list. Yeah. So once you call this function, right, automatically it will load the data from assigned data set. If the data set have a values. Okay. So coming back to your question, how to store the data into the data local table. Okay. So if you see this page, right, maybe in the option, in the load, I return the logic. See, I'm calling the raw call. So I'm clearing the data, this data table first. Okay. Then I'm mapping. So mapping means I just looping the response. Okay. So here I use the insert. So there is a function called insert. You have to mention the data set. In the DT, you have to mention the column names, ID, IMI, URL. So this is what I assign into the data list. So maybe now you understand how we can insert. So there is a function called insert we have to use to insert. So not only for the insert, sometimes you maybe need to update the information in that same table using some unique value, because let's say for in the local table, right? Yes, underscore product. Okay. So there is a parameter called unique key. You have to make it true if really want. So what it will do, it will just provide you the running number for each record. So you can use this key if you want to perform any code related operation called update, delete or something. Yeah. Or in your field itself, we have unique value. You can use your fields also. Let's say I have these fields called ID, IM, URL name, and price, right? Usually ID should be unique. Yeah. So because each product have each unique ID, right? We can use this ID as well. So finally, what I can say, you can use insert, update, delete these functions in order to play around the data into the local table. Local table like inserting, updating, and these kind of stuffs. Is there any function subflow for the columns? Actually, I'm not understanding these questions. Is there functions in the subflow for columns? So what does it mean? Can you give me some example, like where you want to display the data, what kind of action you want to perform?
Ben, you wish to talk?
Okay, sorry, I am not really understanding your question. I cannot answer you. Subflow for the columns. What is subflow for the columns? I just wanted to see page list again. Okay, fine. So this is how we used to design the page list. So usually, right, in the item list, inside the data list, you have to design the record set. So what it will do when you try to load the data, it automatically, let's say your local table have 2 rows, right? Automatically, you can see 2 records. Okay. So for the each label, right? If you see here, there is a present value. Maybe in the property, you can see the field also. I can assign the ID, right? So that in this label, always it will show. We can assign the field. So automatically it will show the field value. You can see the name and price. So why I'm not assigning the value for price? Like actually these and all, like a name, ID and all, we can show directly. But price, let's say I just want to show the price. Include the currency code. So that is the reason maybe I use the auction present value. Yeah, you can see concat price. I'll just show you show the price with the price label in the sub. I just formatting the number. So let's say you want to format something, right, for the label, then you can use this present value. So this is how we used to construct the logic inside the data list. Then here I just this is the image box actually. So in the image box present value, I just putting IM URL in the runtime. So in the properties, actually you can directly put the external URL here also, IM_URL. That one also will work. By clicking this icon, this one is just an image box. So by clicking this icon, you can also write what function need to be done. So I'm just showing the input dialog to capture the quantity, ordered quantity from the user. From there, I'll just updating the cart. Let's say if it is the particular item is already exist in the cart, I'm doing update. If not exist, I'm doing insert. Yeah, this is how I'm adding the quantity by selecting this. Yeah, so this is how we have to record wise events we can do like this. Yes. Can we move to next, like ID name? Okay, like the ID name. So you understand, right? Like once you click the label, we have inside the data list, the properties, we have a field. So in this field, right, we have to mention what field you have in the table, like we actually in the data list, we binded already L_product as a table. Okay, for this particular data set, we assign one table. Okay, so inside field, what we have to provide? We have to provide the exact field name what we have inside the table. Let's say for this product, right? So we have fields here, right? So this is the ID. This is one of the field we have in the table. So we have to assign the same field name. So by showing ID, name and all, I don't want to customize anything, but price I really want to do to format the number. So because sometimes from the API, we can have a price with 2-digit and 3-digit numbers, for 2-digit and 2-digit decimals. But somehow you want to show the formatting number, right? So we cannot do this. We cannot use this format, the field option. So in that purpose, we are using the present value to format. So what I will do, I'll just doing like this. I just it will show like price and is formatting the number. It will, I'm just formatting a number as 2 decimal and I'll just indicating the decimal separator and thousand separator. These and all, these function and all, there is a function called format number we can use to format the number. Yeah, similar like we have a format date and format time, everything we have. Okay, so this is how we have to. This is how this is how we used to play around the data list. Under insert action, what function is being placed to assign the ID, name, quality, etc. Okay, so in the page list, right? In the load, insert, you can see if you okay. So once you drag and drop the insert function, you can see there are 3 parameters. One is called dataset, another one is called DT, third one is called extra. Usually in this extra, right, you can find most of the functions, because extra parameter is just used for carrying the record to another for the next functions, so that we use the extra. And dataset and DT, we have this dataset and DT, right? These are the really 2 parameters depends on this insert. So what is dataset? You can see if you have any doubt, right? You can immediately you can see the help file, So this help file will provide you more information. Like let's say for insert, right? Okay, see there is a two parameters, right? Dataset and DT. Okay, name of the dataset in the local table to be insert. Not only for the local table, you can also use the SQLite table also. So L underscore customer. In our case, I use L underscore product as a dataset. So what is meaning DT? DT meaning is a data. Okay. So object name. So we have to place the object name like this. You can see we place like this. 2 object inside. I think you asked the question, right? What function I have to write inside the DT? You have to use 2 object. 2 object. You have to mention the field value combination like this. If you see my function inside, right? You can also see the same. So the insert in the subflow, 2 object, you can see ID, IAM URL, name, place. So these have the values here. So if you provide like this, automatically it will insert, when you call this function, automatically it will insert the value into the local table. This one is actually, it's all the optional value. So you just want to insert only the ID, you can just provide the ID. If you want to insert other fields, right? So it's not a mandatory to provide all the fields. So if you not provide the field, automatically the particular field will show nothing in the designer wherever you want to display the values. Yeah. So this is how we use the insert function. Can you talk more about the save data and the local table map and load data? Yeah. So usually for the map function, right? Map function, we used to loop the data. Let's say because no one knows how our response data to be, right? Because if the web services is designed by you, you can design the response data format. But Let's say you are dealing with some other third-party system or some other cloud third-party system, then you cannot predict what is the format of the data that you are receiving as a response in the API. Okay, but there should be a documentation from the third party end, like this is how we return the data based on your API request. Okay, first what we have to do, we have to analyze the data. Okay, so most of the APIs will return the data in array format. Okay, so in the array format, how we used to insert the each record into the local table. So that is the purpose we are using the map function. Map function is kind of a loop, So what the map function will do? Actually, maybe you might have a naming confusion between the map and loop. Actually, both are same. So mapping meaning it's not a mapping a data, It's kind of a looping a data. So if you pass the array inside the map, it will just loop you by providing the each record one by one. So usually, let's say if my API will return you the list of records in the array, what I will do, I will pass this response into the map function. Then from there, I will take each record and I will keep insert into my local table by using the insert or update function, whatever. Let's say we have each record data, right? If there is a data already exists, by using conditional statement, we can check whether this data is exist in the local table or not. So based on that, whatever action you want to do, like insert or update, whatever you want to do, you can do. But this map function is mainly used to loop the data, not the mapping the data, is we used to loop the data. Yes. So maybe here, right, I can show you how I use the map function here. So see, I use the values here, right? Object keys, right? From there, I will insert one by one product. Okay. What is the function that is extracting the ID? Extracting the ID. Okay. Maybe okay, so I will replay your question. And what scenario you want to extract the ID from the record? Let's say if you want to click this, right, you want to know which record icon is clicking. Okay, so maybe in the purpose you need to know the record value, the fields value of particular clicking record. Okay, so for this one, right, by clicking this, I return the function. See, I used a variable called v_item, then I stored the value called data. So why we are using to save the data into the variable, right? So once you click this particular icon, it will show you the exact record data into the variable. So based on this, you can see the field information of the particular record. So based on that, you can perform whatever the thing you want. So usually we have a data and data field. Let's say if you want to store only the data field, then here we can use. These are the parameters. If you want to store the particular static value, you can use the static value. The parameter is we use in the global functions. Input and input field usually for any function, yes, callback, we just receive the data and the input and input field only. Input field is a one step ahead. Let's say if array is the input and object is the input field. Similarly, the data is the each record information, right? Data field is a kind of a field data. So let's say I store the data, right, so that it will store you the entire data information, record information into this variable. But if you use the data field, right, you can store particular field information. Let's say as he asked, right, how to extract the ID, so that if you want to store the ID of particular clicking record, right, you can use this data field here. You have to mention like ID. so that this particular variable will hold the ID information of particular record when you click the this icon, because we return this logic upon the click only. So upon this click, what I return, I use the function called setVar. I just name it the variable function. In the value, I put ID in the data field, so that what I can expect by executing this function, v item as a variable, it will hold the value of ID. Yeah, this is how we used to extract the information from the particular record. Yes. So you got your question, you got your answer. Okay. Any questions? Okay. So the insert function. Okay, still we have a questions on the insert function, right? One last clarification. Okay, go ahead. You can open it. Okay, I open the insert in the DT to object. I place the column names here, and in the ID, I again use the subfunction. Yeah, subfunction I used to store v underscore ID, because this one, right, I use the get variable attribute. This get variable attribute, we use set variable called v item, right? V item, we stored the particular record data. So when I insert, what I will do, this one is I just trying to insert the cart information. Okay, so upon selecting this item, upon key in the quantity, what I'm actually doing, I'm just inserting the values into the cart table. Okay, upon the click, the plus icon itself, I'm storing all the record information into v item. So that get variable attribute function, I just inserting the field information of ID. Attribute is ID. I'm storing and take it from the v item variable. So this is how I used to store for the ID value. Similarly, let's say for IM URL, right? Same. That is IM URL in the particular variable. Then name and price, everything is same. Quantity I haven't key in, so maybe it's because of the processor. I'm not sure. Okay, so it's upon the input. So we can do like this. Are you okay on this answer, or you have some other clarification? If you have, you can go ahead. If you I just need this kind of session actually, so that we actually we can understand in which place you guys are struggling, so that we can able to help you guys to complete the task. Yes, this setVar and getVar, set variable attribute and get variable attribute, these are the functions we commonly use to deal with the data. And insert, update, yeah, these are the functions usually we use to deal with the data. Okay, so if fine, maybe we can go ahead for next topic. The last topic is called publish, compile and publish. Okay, so in the eMOBIQ, we have an option called build. Okay, so if you once you click this build, right, you can see this kind of pop-up. So here, what we can see, there is a mode. Okay, so we have a three kind of mode. Generally, this build option we are using to release the version to the customer. Okay, but let's say we release the app already, the first version of app, then the users have started using, the customers have started using the app. Then some point of time, after a month, after 6 months, they're coming for the any issue or other changes, the additional changes. So we accepted to do, then we have started to do, we completed, right? So we have to perform our internal test, right, before we releasing the app. Because let's say our app version is 1.0.0, we cannot increase the version without doing the testing. That is the reason we are using these two modes. When you use this debug and development, right, actually it will not increase the version. Also, it will not give a notification to the users also in order to update the app, because these are the separate modes. It will not release the version actually. So we can use these two modes in order to do our internal testing. Okay, so the process is very simple. If you want to do the development thing, right, just do the development. Then in extra, you have to tick this Android and iOS. Then once you start build, it will start building already. Okay, then you've done everything on the testing, everything, the local internal testing, everything. Then you have to use the release. Once you select the release, right, there is a versioning here. It depends on the requirement. Let's say if it is you are fixing some one or two issues, then you can use this patch. Because our revision versioning format is like this 1.0.0. If you use the patch, automatically the next version will be 1.0.1. If you use the minor, then next version will be 1.1.0. If you use the major, then next version will be 2.0.0. Yeah, so you can see the details of versioning, right? Major.minor.patch. So it depends upon the change or issue what we done for the new app. Based on that, we can choose whether the version is called minor or major or patch. So once you start building, then automatically it will get start the building. So you can see all the information in the header bar, like whether it's processing the building got success, everything, right? You can see the message over there. Then finally, once you successfully build, right? So already I told you, right, how we can protect the app. So here, right, there is an option called lock, right? You can put the password. So this is the download password. If you put this password, right, upon download, definitely it will ask this password to ensure whether the user is a valid user or not. This is up to the customer whether really they want to lock this app. Then they can use the lock feature. Okay, but in our internal testing, we no need to keep this locking and all, because each time it will ask you the pop-up to provide the password. Okay, so after successful building and compiling everything, then we have to go back to the eMOBIQ store. Before that, I'm just copying the app ID. So by clicking the eMOBIQ store, there is no application because I haven't built any app. Okay, so I'll just my application, right? Just log out. I guess using some other accounts. So here in the eMOBIQ store, here also that's nothing showing. Okay, eMOBIQ store. Okay, usually under this eMOBIQ store, we will show the list of applications that we built already. Maybe for our account, we haven't built any app, right? That is the reason it's not showing any app. From there, we can generate the app link, so that I'll just show you. I'll just preview how the app link we can see. So similarly, like this page, we will see this is the link we have to provide to the user in order to download the app. So once they use clicking this link, right, they can redirect into this page. So from there is a download option to download whether iOS or Android. This is how they have download. So in your mobile, right, if you started using this option, then automatically the APK will be get downloaded upon you choose the Android version. Then you can start to install. But some security question they will ask, right? Let's say if you unauthorized app. So let's say if you try to install the unauthorized app apart from the Play Store, then it will ask some basic security questions like, okay, so are you aware of installing the unauthorized app, right? You have to process, you have to complete the process of validating the security questions. Yeah, similar like iOS also. We have to, there should be some question it will ask, okay, so this seems like unauthorized app, because we know this is the valid app, but as a mobile platform, they doesn't know this, right? So we have to validate the process and we have to install the app. This is how we have to install the app in the Play Store. So in the eMOBIQ store. Okay, let me show insert function. Yeah, okay. So I think I covered all the topics of today. So maybe you can ask the questions. Okay, after this session, right? So for the case study, maybe we can take the same app. So as we know the flow of this sales ordering app, right? So what we can do, we can take the same app as a case study, so you can continue to do so. If any question, maybe later, right? If you have any questions, then directly you can forward to Eric, so that we are here to assist you if you really need. Yeah. So IDK, if this is possible, but it is already sent the link to your editor panel for this. Okay, we want to forward this. We need this app link. Okay, maybe I will just yeah, I guess. So this is what you need, right? This is the app. The demo of what I did, right? So okay, so you can use this app for your reference. Actually, one more thing, like only the practice can improve the production time. So even though the session also, when I theoretically teach the topics and keep bringing the lesson, right, but when you start practically work on the platform, it will give you a more comfortable to create the apps. So that is what we actually need. So please guys, do practice of using the functions, creating pages, so that you know about each features we have under our eMOBIQ, so that yeah, so yeah, we'll become more familiar with this platform. Yeah. Okay. So any questions?
Any question from you all? So battery,
Yes.
you have done your session today?
Yeah, today's session is done.
Okay, so is there any question from you all? Gan, Lo, Hu Chuan. Siti, you have any question? Okay, if you don't have any question, then we shall end the session. So thanks to Wetri again for helping us on this.
Thank you,
Wetri,
guys.
do you have anything to add on?
Okay, so for the case study purpose, I think this is the last session. From here, right? Maybe you can continue to build the same app for the case study purpose. So if you have any questions,
If you all don't have any question, then we shall end the session. So thank you very much for everyone. Thanks for spending time with us. So we will meet again. Thank you so much. Welcome.